ubi caritas et amor Deus ibi est. Ubi caritas et amor Deus ibi est. Ubi caritas et amor Deus ibi est. Ubi caritas et amor Deus ibi est.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will. We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know we're there. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going. We know we're there. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going. We'll know we're there. Woyaya, 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 we'll know we're there.
Welcome, Spirit of Creation. Inspire us to imagine new ways of being, forms of right relationship just beyond the horizon. Welcome, Spirit of healing. Warm our hearts and purify our minds, leading us to live lives of gratitude. Welcome, Spirit of compassion. Rain your grace upon us, moving a wave of kindness through us and into the world. Welcome, Spirit of growth. Another world is possible. Keep us grounded in love. Come, let us worship together. Good morning and welcome to the virtual worship service with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. I'm the Reverend Lynn Cox. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and it is my privilege to be your interim minister. Congratulations to the UU Church of Silver Spring and to the Reverend Kristen Schmidt for your new relationship, having called Reverend Kristen last Sunday. I am so happy for all of you. Today's service is about being on the threshold of change, drawing wisdom from several holidays celebrated in May by members and friends. Whether we've recently celebrated Beltaine, or we're in the middle of the holy month of Ramadan, or we are looking ahead to Shavuot or Pentecost, this is a season when people of faith and spirit contemplate what it means to live differently, to pass through the fires of transformation to achieve strength of purpose, and to meet the world as it is revealing itself. It is also Mother's Day, and parents of all genders are thinking about what it means to live differently, now and in the future, along with the feelings of all the loss, grief, joy, gratitude, and complexity that usually come with this day. Visitors from around the world, you are especially welcome. Dina Rayleigh is our welcoming captain of the day and would be glad to answer your questions in the chat. Dina will also be available during virtual coffee hour after the service. Our worship together continues in a completely online format. Our staff and volunteers are learning more every week about how to create community in a new way. We are transforming and strengthening our connections. Whether you're with us live or watching later, I'm so glad you're here. If you are watching live, you can log into Google to participate in the comments. To help protect privacy, the chat will not be available for later playback, but during the services, the chat is very public, so please keep that in mind. Thank you to Scott Sleek and Joe Paoletti for moderating the chat today. American Sign Language interpretation is available in a separate Zoom room. If you use ASL and you need help finding that link, please ask in the chat or email Tamara Bowman at BoardPresident@UUCSS.org to get the link. Thank you to all of the volunteers and staff who made today's service possible. Thank you to our volunteer technical director, Jake Ryder. If anyone would like to join the ranks of worship technical directors, please do contact me or Jake to learn more. Thank you to the musicians who contributed their time and talent for today's service, and thank you to Catherine Leet for being today's worship associate. It's almost time for Catherine to lead us in the chalice lighting and congregational commitment. If you have a chalice, a candle, or a flashlight at home, please get ready to light us and let it know in the chat that the chalice is lit and where you are.
Good morning. Please join me in the words on your screen as we light our chalices and recite the congregational commitment together. May this light warm our hearts with love and caring and guide us in the ways of truth. As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to accept the responsibilities this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being. May it be so. Let's sing together. This is Becoming, a new hymn by Mary Grigolia. The lyrics will be on your screen.
Rainbows in the Windows, a story by Jen Blosser, told by Marcia Thrall. Once there was a child and their parent sheltering in place, just like you are now, and they were really fed up, perhaps a bit like you are sometimes. The novelty of being at home all the time and doing whatever they wanted had worn off for the child, and they felt bored. For the parents, it was less a feeling of boredom weighing them down, but rather a sense of hopelessness. They watched TV for hours, though how many hours remained a mystery. They had stopped keeping track of time, really. The days all blurred together. They felt like they had been doing this for so long. And then one day, when the child accidentally sat on the remote, after going to get more snacks, the TV accidentally turned off, and there was something new reflected in the black screen of the powered-down television. The child and their grandparent turned around to look out their front window to find the source of the reflection. And the reflection was found in the house across the road from them, where there was a piece of paper taped in the window. And on the paper was a colorfully drawn rainbow. Well, this was something new, something unexpected and bright and cheery and new. The child and the grandparent turned to one another knowingly, grinning. And in a flash, the child retrieved a sheet of paper and crayons and began to draw a rainbow, while the grandparent fetched tape. And a moment later, they gazed upon their window with pride. Their rainbow shone back across the street, joyfully mirroring their neighbor's rainbow. What happened next was like magic. Every day, more cheerful rainbows appeared in more windows all up and down their street. The child and their parent gleefully drew rainbows for each window in their home, watching their neighbors do the same. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and all manner of other colors burst forth, seeming to shine through the windows, a cacophony of color. But the people didn't stop there. They continued to draw. Rainbows were taped to neighbors' doors, slipped into mailboxes, and they were sent to care homes, to beloved elders who couldn't have visitors. Rainbows were left tucked under the windshield wipers of Uber Eats drivers' cars. They were left out for delivery folks. People made rainbows to send to hospitals, scrawled with messages of gratitude and admiration for everyone working to help keep the sick, from the doctors and the nurses to the custodial and maintenance workers, safe. Stockers working hard in grocery stores found paper rainbows between cans of beans and corn and left waiting on the shelves where the toilet paper was sold out. Now families on solitary walks around the city go rainbow hunting. The child and their grandparent like to do this, taking paper with them to write down all the places they see rainbows hanging. The empty school, the corner store, windows of brownstone homes, even hanging from balconies 15 stories up. They make a list of all the rainbows emerging, logging each place where the colors shine into the empty streets. By now, you've probably figured out that this story is really happening all over the world right now. Folks are coming together in spirit while physically distanced to lovingly reassure one another with brilliant colors. The rainbows are beautiful, and to see them alone is a joy, but they carry with them a promise. And this is just one space of the promise in the midst of this storm. This week, some of our littlest UUs and their families drew rainbows for all of us, to remind us of the beauty of community and the hope that can be found in one another. Thank you to Ned, Doris, Simone, Desmond, Zoe. Yep, Mom gave us the beautiful rainbow in chalice on our beginning slide, as well as Xenia, Isani, Irene, Bella, and Jackson for your beautiful and inspiring work this week. The rainbows shine as a reminder of hope. We are in this together. The storm will end, and we will come out on the other side.
During this season of transformation, many of us and many of our loved ones are facing profound changes. There are among us changes to celebrate, such as graduations and new members of the family, though there are frustrations that we must celebrate differently than we used to. There are among us changes that evoke deep sadness. We have lost loved ones, and we can't hold our surviving loved ones close. Some of us have lost jobs or incomes or relationships. There are among us changes that are still unfolding. We don't yet know what effect they will have on our lives. In times of change, let us transform and strengthen our relationships to help each other through this journey. Also, today is Mother's Day. For those of us of all genders who are actively parenting, family life has changed profoundly in the last few weeks. The times being what they are means parents and grown children and grandparents and two household families are all navigating new and painful territory. If your relationship with your parent or child was complicated to begin with, the changes in our lives that bring stress and vulnerability might make today even more difficult to process. I see you. And if you are finding joy in this day regardless, finding beauty in the flowers and new life and in the ways that nurturing abides, I see you. The joys and sorrows of this holiday are all valid. The changes in our personal lives are worth noticing and sharing and bearing together. And also, I want to acknowledge that the stresses of the pandemic fall most heavily on those who hold one or more marginalized identities. The mortality rate, the working conditions, the impact of political rhetoric show us that oppression is a major factor in how we experience this chapter in history. We extend our support to individuals and also commit to transforming the systems that exacerbate suffering. So there's a lot to consider as we care for one another. Even in a time when we are physically apart, members and friends of this congregation continue to support one another through the triumphs and the tragedies and the struggles and the milestones. During the music, if you are worshiping with us live, please type your joys or sorrows into the chat box or type the name of someone that you are holding in remembrance. Please remember that the chat is public during the live stream. The Joys and Sorrows chat has proven to be full and fast-moving, so we don't expect that everyone will be able to read every response. If you would like to discuss your joy or sorrow with a peer listener, please email layministers@uucss.org and let them know that you need support. If you're watching a recording later, please take this time of meditation to reflect, to journal, and to name the love that has been in your life, in the past or present. As we enter into reflection on joys and sorrows, we are grateful to our pianist, Phyllis Stanley, for providing music. May all be held in love. for all of the joys and sorrows that have been shared, and for all that remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, too tender to share, we give our thanks and our blessing. Please join me in a moment of reverence. Creative Spirit, source of life and love, we give thanks for the beauty of this day, for the company of those assembled online, and for the connection with those watching later. Thank you for the breezes of change, clearing our heads and bringing fresh ideas. May they cleanse our minds of the oppressions and isms that divide us. Thank you for the flame of hope, the heat of righteous anger, the warmth of compassion, and the fire of commitment. May they bubble the cauldrons of transformation. Thank you for the oceans of love, rivers of connections, tears of relief, and pools of serenity. May healing waters flow over us and through us and among us, wearing down the sharp rocks of despair to bring joy in the morning. Thank you for the good earth beneath us, around us, and within us. May we take this clay and co-create a new realm of justice and beauty. Thank you for all these and more. We accept our gifts and commit to building, sculpting, painting, singing, and dancing them to life, to abundant life. So be it. Blessed be. Amen. We continue our time of contemplation with a meditation hymn, Rise Up, O Flame, led by Tina Borer. The words will be on your screen. Let's sing together.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, 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 rise up, O
The Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring is a living community with a rich heritage and a purposeful future. We are strong and adaptable in these times because of the commitments of members and friends. My husband Steve and I were married in this church. As a mother, I feel deeply grateful today for our children being raised in this church. It's where Billy and Annabelle received their religious education and where Annabelle had the valuable opportunity to be in the church's children's choir, where her love of singing was nurtured. For these reasons and many more, we continue to support UUCSS because it is our spiritual home and our church community. As you get ready to make your financial gift, there are two ways you can do that in this very moment. If you have a tablet or a smartphone and haven't already, please download the Give Plus mobile app from Vanco. Search in zip code 20903 to find UUCSS, and within a few clicks you can set up your account. To make a payment towards your pledge or to give to the operating budget, please select Annual Budget Drive. The other way to donate through your phone is through Text to Give. Use your phone to text a message to the number 833-880-1363. The content of your text message will be a $sign and the amount you want to donate. You will receive a reply with a link to complete your donation on a secure website. You'll see instructions for both of these options on your screen in a moment. If you're watching this on a recording, those options still work. You can use the Give Plus app or text anytime. If neither the app nor texting is a good option for you, the office is still accepting checks through the postal mail. Please mark your envelope, Attention Collector. As a community, we need each other now more than ever. Please give generously as you are able. As we make our gifts, we give thanks to Jeremy Halt, Maria Paoletti, and Jacob Howley, performing All Things Must Pass. The offering will now be given by the congregation and received by the congregation.
Sunrise doesn't last all morning. A cloudburst doesn't last all day. Seems my love is up and has left you with no warning. It's not always gonna be this great. All things must pass. All things must pass away.
Sunset doesn't last all evening. A mind can blow those clouds away. After all this, my love is up and must be leaving. It's not always gonna be this great.
All things must pass. All things must pass away.
All things must pass. None of life's strings can last.
So I must be on my way and face another day. Now the darkness only stays the nighttime. In the morning it will fade away.
Daylight is good at arriving at the right time. It's not always gonna be this great.
All things must pass.
All
Things must pass away. All things must pass. All things must pass away.
Where is the divine in all of this? If you've ever had sessions with a spiritual director, that may sound familiar. If you're a theist, they may ask you to reflect on where God's presence seems nearby. If you're an agnostic, they might get more creative, like, where are you finding awe and wonder? Where is a sense of reverence popping up in your life? When do you get a tingle of that something sacred that might be happening? One of the songs in our prelude this morning, Ubi Caritas, suggests that where charity and love abide, the divine is there. And I find that deeply comforting. I don't know if I believe in God, but I do believe in kindness. And remembering the ways that people and other beings express love helps me to have faith that there is something holy moving through the world. In times such as these, I am looking for every sign that I can. It is easy to get overwhelmed with world events and personal sources of sadness. Really, I wonder, where is the divine in all of this? If there is a higher power, I don't think it makes arrangements intentionally for our suffering, but maybe there is a power that can comfort and inspire us and move us to respond when humans hurt each other. Maybe it comes from humans ourselves acting our best and highest, or maybe it comes from the source of love beyond our knowing. We need that kind of help right now. Where is it? It may be that part of my problem is looking for the sacred in one concrete place, as if it were a pair of scissors that keeps moving around the house. My mind is trained to seek things that I can see and touch and hold, and perhaps the holy is not a thing with a single location. Particularly in times such as these, when everything is changing quickly and our basic assumptions about how the world works are being upended, concrete predictability will not yield a force that brings comfort, inspiration, challenge to live our values, or a sense of connection with the universe. In times like these, perhaps what we seek can't be found in just one place. It's not a commodity to be grasped. Not even signing up for the right workshops or collecting scented candles will allow us to possess it and tame it. What we seek, I think, is a spirit that moves. Some of our pagan friends celebrated Beltaine not that long ago. One of the traditions of this holiday is to light fires. Some say that one aspect of the tradition is to put out all of the fires in community and to light one new fire to be the Beltaine fire, and then relight all of the hearths in the community from this new flame. In this way, the warmth and light of every household is connected to one source, to one flicker of renewal. Cattle are driven between festival fires in hopes for their continued health. Partners jump over the fires to renew relationships. Grains from the previous year are cast into the flames, symbolically purifying the stores of that which is stale. The fires of Beltaine remind us that renewal happens in relationship. Our community is linked by shared renewal. Partnerships thrive in cooperative renewal. Our ability to thrive agriculturally is relational with the earth, and none of it is static. Instead, the spirit that moves dances like the flames, taking no final form. The Beltaine fires are something to pass through or leap over or rekindle, but cannot be predicted or held in place. Another story about fire is coming up for Christians at Pentecost, celebrated this year by Western Christians on May 31st. As the story goes, Jesus' friends had been coming to terms with his death and the possibility of his resurrection for over a month, meeting in small groups and figuring out what it meant to continue their movement without their leader. In some of the stories, the resurrected Jesus had appeared to them, and at the end of this time of regrouping, he left them to return to heaven. And it was again the season of a pilgrimage in Jerusalem, and there were people from all around the known world crowding into the city. As the story goes in the book of Acts, the disciples were all gathered in one group when tongues of fire appeared among them, and a tongue rested on each of them, and all of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other languages as the Spirit gave them the ability. The fires of Pentecost are the fires of renewed mission. They could not continue, that is, the disciples could not continue witnessing and healing the way they had done. They had changed, and the world had changed. Fire symbolized that they had to carry out their mission in a new way. They needed new language, new skills for communication, new technologies for finding connection. The shape and the outcome of their movement was not set at that point. They were traveling through a time of transformation. The flames of Pentecost gave them energy for change, but not certainty. Though Unitarian Universalism grows from Christian roots, not all of us are close followers of Christian tradition. I don't know if the story happened exactly that way, but I believe it's true that a movement that witnesses for justice for the poor and accountability for the powerful, a movement that knows that state-sanctioned violence is a real possibility, a movement that seeks right relationship between people and with the holy, that movement needs to be ready for change. Sometimes the times in which we live are fires to pass through, and our way of pursuing our mission must adapt. Outcomes are not assured. The shape of things to come is unclear. The spirit that moves can't be held in our hands, yet there are powers that inspire and challenge and draw people together. In the story from the book of Acts, people are in Jerusalem for the Jewish holiday of Shavuot, and this is a holiday that is celebrated very differently now than during the Second Temple period in the first century of Palestine. Nevertheless, it's a day worth noticing, and it is also coming this month, May 29th. Shavuot is partly a harvest holiday, bookending the grain season that begins with Sukkot. And by tradition, the Torah was given to the people on Shavuot, and that holiday has become an occasion to celebrate the Torah by staying up all night studying. In the book of Deuteronomy, we read that the first version of the Torah that God gave to Moses to share with the people did not last. Moses came down from Sinai, the mountain ablaze, and saw that the people had already strayed, and he smashed the first 2 tablets. And so God helped Moses create another set, Torah 2.0, and those were the tablets placed into the ark. According to Jewish mystics, the first set of tablets were written with black fire on white fire. Perhaps the black fire represents judgment and the white fire represents mercy. Or the black fire represents interpretation and the white fire, what we might think of as blank space in graphic design, represents possibility. Perhaps the fires represent what is written and what is hidden. Rabbi Michael Strassfeld suggests that the white fire is the world around us, and that the sacred must always be understood in the context of life as we are living it. Holy words must be interpreted in relationship with the world as it is in the current time and place. So again, the spirit that moves cannot be pinned down. The divine flickers and dances and resists concrete form, revealing and purifying and drawing people together in ways that adapt to the times in which we find ourselves. My last sacred story for today is not so much about fire as it is about commitment. We are in the middle of the holy month of Ramadan. During this month, Muslims recall when the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, received the revelation of the Holy Quran. During this month, Muslims not only fast from food and drink during the day, but they are particularly careful to avoid lies, slander, gossip, false oaths, and greed or covetousness. According to one story, the Prophet Muhammad was in contemplation when he was visited by the angel Gabriel, who commanded him to read. And Muhammad replied that he was unable to read. But Gabriel embraced him and then commanded him to recite, which he did. Read in the name of your Lord who created man from a clinging substance. Read, your Lord is most generous. He who taught by the pen taught man that which he knew not. So ends the reading. Not only am I moved by the commitment to charity and love that I observe in my loved ones who fast during Ramadan, I am reminded by this story that we move through times of uncertainty with abilities that we either didn't know we had or that we pick up because we didn't know we would need them before. Being committed to our values means we adapt. If it is our hope to be in the places where charity and love act, we change along with the Spirit that moves. Charity and love are not static. They are always in motion, always a part of a system of relationships. And this brings us back to wondering where the divine might be in the midst of this pandemic. How is the Spirit moving us through the fires of this time of transformation? We do not know how society will be different on the other side of this. We can try to shape that change. And as we do that, let's stay anchored in our values. How do we move with the Spirit in which charity and love abide? As I mentioned earlier, I feel that our commitment to honoring the interdependent web of existence and the inherent worth and dignity of every person means that it is incumbent upon us to recognize that the stresses of the pandemic fall most heavily on those who hold one or more marginalized identities. The decision to go to the store or wear a mask or exercise outdoors is more risky for some because of factors like racism, xenophobia, and ableism. My prayers are with the family of Ahmaud Arbery, who was murdered in February and whose family had to endure being re-traumatized this week as his death gained publicity. May the trial of the two men who were arrested for his murder proceed swiftly and with integrity. The inequitable effects of the pandemic don't stop there. Wealthy people are invited to shelter at home while meatpacking employees are ordered into places of danger, being told by a Wisconsin State Supreme Court justice that their illnesses and deaths don't count because they are not regular folks. Families of color, especially Black families and families who are poor, are sustaining heavier losses. In the United States, we mourn for over 76,000 people. 76,000 people who have died of COVID-19. We are mourning. And we ache for leadership that will honor those who are left. We are faced with an urgent need to transform our society toward justice, equity, and compassion, now more than ever. I know this congregation is full of compassionate people. You have been reaching out to one another through the contact tree and spontaneous cards and calls. You have responded with generosity to the minister's discretionary fund. You are capable of great kindness. The charity and love you express is part of something larger. Love goes out to individuals and also to whole systems where it takes on the name of justice. Your personal calling may be rooted in acts of individual compassion. We don't all have to be full-time activists. We do, if we are honest, need to remember the systems of oppression that make suffering worse. Let us remain committed to our deepest values. This is a threshold time, an open doorway, a sacred fire for us to pass through or around or over. I do not wish for us to return to everything as it was before. The future is still unfolding. My hope is that we adapt, that we find our place in the dance with the Spirit that moves, that we follow the rhythms of justice and compassion. So be it. Blessed be. Amen. And I'm curious to hear from you. What do you hope will be different in your life or in society on the other side of this period of history? There are no guarantees. As long as we are helping to shape change, what are we shaping that change toward? How is the Spirit of love moving? What do you hope will be different? If you're worshiping with us live, type your reflection into the chat. If you are watching later, I hope you can use this time for journaling or reflection or communicating with someone you care about. After the reflection, we're going to move right into the closing hymn, The Fire of Commitment, The words will be on your screen. Thank you to Michael Holmes and the Ensemble Croesus for the music as we enter into a time of reflection.
future can begin.
Amen. As we get ready to extinguish our chalices, if you are worshiping with us live, let us know in the chat that you will carry the flame. Please join me in the words on your screen. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Thank you to the spirits of tradition, kindness, passion, and inspiration that have been with us here. May the sacred fires of this season bring you closer to the people you love. May they brighten your clarity of values and purpose. May they illuminate the path as we journey into the unknown. Go in peace, return again in love. Blessed be.
Every time I thought I got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse of how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes, turn and face the strange changes. Don't want to be a richer man. Changes, turn and face the strange changes. Gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. I watch the ripples change their size, never leave the stream, warm and permanent sand. So the days float through my eyes, but still the days seem the same. And these children that you spit on as they try to change their worlds are immune to your consultation. They're quite aware of what they're going through. Changes, turn and face the strange changes. Don't tell them to grow up and out of it. Changes, turn and face the strange changes. Where's your shame? You left us up to our necks in it. Time may change me, but you can't trace time. Change fascination, fascinating me. Our changes are taking the pace I'm going through. Changes, turn and face the strange changes. Well, look out, you rock and rollers. Changes, turn and face the strange changes.